Hi guys and welcome to another video. I'm the Autistic Autist and today I want to talk about masking. So what is masking in general? Masking is a little bit like acting, but it's not lying to you. It's trying to seem normal to you, neurotypical person. So for me, for example, when I am in a social situation, then I will look at how the people around me are acting, how their posture is, if they are dancing, if it's a party situation, do they hold a drink in their hand, are they communicating with everyone, or is it a more small group situation? Are they smiling? How are their facial features? Are they like acting a lot with their faces? How drunk do they seem? If we are talking about a party situation, there are a lot of features you need to take in mind. Also, like how is the person dressed and what does that tell you about that person? It's for me a little bit like in the Sherlock that is on Netflix, where he is like looking at specific details of the person, like that coffee spot there, which tells them that they are probably hastily drinking their coffee before and that they seem tired or stressed and stuff like that. I take into mind when I talk to people, and I try to mimic them. If I don't know that person, in front of my best friend, I'm just the way I am. But I am neurodiverse and I act neurodiverse. I do weird things with my hands. I stim a lot. If I don't take stuff like that into mind, and I'm like I am, then I will get from people that I don't know the feedback that I'm weird and that I'm strange, and they notice something is wrong. And if I'm talking to like a professor or to people that I don't know at a party, I don't want to be the weird person, or I don't want to have a bad impact on my grades or whatever. I just want to like fade into the general public so I'm not standing out. And for that I need to mask. I need to act like others, and for that I need to look how others are acting and then mimic that behavior. And that is very, very exhausting, but necessary for me. I also wanted to put input of another person in there, so I went to a page called Reframing Autism, and I'm going to read a blog entry to you, or a specific part of that blog entry. I use masks to camouflage my less socially accepted traits and behaviors. Masking helps me to behave or perform in a way that is congenial and accepted for the neurotypical majority, a way to let others experience my autism more comfortably for them. Although not necessary for me, masking allows me to compensate for my perceived deficits by constructing identities that are more conventionally satisfactory to those who I am around. So as you can see, masking is in general just a way to make yourself accepted, because you don't want to be the odd one out, you just don't want to be the weirdo. And of course it's not great that we have to mask, but it's a tool that can be used and needs to be used as an autist. I don't want to say like you should mask if you're autistic. I just want to tell neurotypical why I am masking, and I want to tell you as a neurodiverse that masking doesn't make you a bad person. It's also good for like training your skills and accommodating for specific situations, and I think we would make good actors because we are really training that, and I think it can be beneficially for understanding others, and you can learn a lot about others, and you can become a detective, kind of like with Sherlock. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's a thing that is very exhausting. It costs so much energy because you are in a social situation, and instead of just like everyone else doing what you want to do, you are thinking of the posture, the way you should act, your voice, your face, if you're smiling, if you shouldn't smile, if you're smiling too much, if your hair is still okay, if you are moving the same way as others, what you should say and stuff like that. So it's a lot. And it's a lot added to the normal conversation that you're having, which is exhausting for an autist. So this leads to us not being able to be in social situations as long as neurotypicals. And it's something you can see. And it might seem like, oh, Sophie went to our party and she went so early, like, doesn't she like me or what's wrong? But it's just a way to protect myself, because I see that I'm becoming so exhausted, and if I don't go home and I just work on, then I will get very scared and anxious when I'm finally at home, and I will have to suffer through hour-long panic attacks and stuff like that. So it's a huge price to pay, and it needs a balance. That's why I'm very open about being autistic, because I masked a lot and I try to reduce that, just because then I can spend more time with people and I don't worry too much about if what I did was right, because you can mask and that doesn't mean that you think you did it right. It just means you tried your best. So I'm still always worrying if that person thinks I'm okay or normal, or if that person actually likes me. And it happens with close friends too, that I write something to them and then afterwards I'm like reading through it, or I say something to them, and afterwards I play the whole conversation in my mind back and forth. I always do that with every single conversation. And then I'm like pinpointing, like, oh, there, I should have said something completely different. Oh, how horrible. Oh, I hope she doesn't hate me now. And that happens after every conversation that I have. And yes, I try to reduce that, and I try to openly communicate, hey, did I do something wrong here? Is everything okay? But it's hard to turn that whole thing off, and it's just a protective mechanism and something that came with not being diagnosed for so long and just trying to fit in. For my closest friends now, I don't try to really mask, and there are some friends where I feel really comfortable around them being my true self. And yes, you would say, like, if you can't be your true self, then leave those friends behind. And I do understand that on a certain point, but as an autistic, you are always scared of losing your friends because you aren't like them. And it's a hard thing to admit, but it's hard to make friends too. So while we do have the need for friends and we love that, it's hard to figure out what's comfortable for us and how it's comfortable for others. And there's no perfect situation, so you can't just throw out every friend after they say something weird, because maybe you understood it wrong. Like, there's a great chance that I just misunderstood them. And sometimes it just needs communication. And that can be frustrating. And I can switch back to masking more in front of friends, just because it can also be very exhausting to be yourself, and then you have to explain why you are the way you are and why you did this and why you did that. And it's a constant battle between the two things. And it's also training, and it's nothing I'm perfect at, by no means. And I think it's a part of growing into the knowledge that I'm autistic and who I am and what I want to sacrifice for social situations and what I don't want. And I think it's something I still need to grow in. But if you are autistic and you're masking, what I want to tell you is that this is not an easy thing, and you are, by doing this, showing that you are very good and very skillful. And don't feel bad about not being able to do this like as easily as neurotypical ones. They just are in a whole group of people who are more like them, and we are not. If you were in a group filled with more autistic people, you would be the one who has it easier to communicate. So do what feels most comfortable to you, and it won't come very easy, and it will need training, but all I can tell you is that trial and error and making what felt comfortable and taking small steps is what helps me best to grow into my true autistic self, if you want to say that. Acting a lot with their faces. Yeah, we have talked about that. Masking helps me to behave or what you are what you should say, because I see that I'm becoming so exhaustive. Yeah, and with that I want to say thank you for listening, watching, and I hope you had fun with this video, and we will see each other in my next one. Bye!